carried by the breeze. Guitar strings are humming, firelight glow. Legacy forgers, it's time to let go. For tonight we dive deep into realms unknown, where medicine's guidance, our spirits have grown. Tribe experience calls as the stars do shine. In this quantum dance, the universe is thine. Dragons we have battled, demons we've defied. Through the darkest valleys and mountains we've climbed. Now we stand united, warriors of the heart. For love is our armor, and this is just the start. Mystical moments as the fire crackles near. Laughter and some tears as we conquer our fear. Epic is the journey of the soul's one ride. With the legacy of forgers, it's time to live strong. Tonight we ascend to the dimensions of now, embracing the future, honoring the past. Tribe experience beckons as the flames takes high. In this cosmic embrace, we touch the sky. Stories of
I'm excited too.
tales of
Mm.
legacy forgers. Know our worth from challenges faced
Nope.
to the love we found. In this sacred space, our spirits are unbound. So heal the cat as night turns to day. Remember this moment, calm your mind.
Test, test. Oh, so I get this whole live stream all to myself. Amazing. Interesting. I can hear you. I can hear you. I know. Hmm. You still can't hear yourself on the stream? Where are we streaming? Do we have anybody? Hello, hello. Yeah, the comments will be in StreamYard. So if right now if people don't hear you and they're only hearing me, we're just letting you know we're testing this right now. Is there somewhere I can watch this? I can see as well. Oh, I love that. I'll just like the puppet master. No, but it'll be like a game of telephone, so you'll talk to her and then I'll make some things up completely. Mm. This is so great. I can't. All right. All right. Do you need me to look anywhere to see if I can hear you, or do you want to just go and let this rock and roll, and then if people can't hear you, we'll get that. It's gotta be so weird if it's just me talking right now. So for anybody who is watching on whatever stream that you're watching on right now, if you can't hear Tor, Um, what are we gonna do? We'll post the actual real video somewhere with both audio. This is how we keep it mystical, my friends. All right, let's rock and roll. Why am I big? Oh, well, thank you. I was like, I grew, which is great because I'm not a tall person. Okay. Well, let's rock and roll. We can this is gonna be so strange. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, let me let me intro. How about I intro our our topic here, and with it with also a promise we will after today figure out whatever tech, and if this is working, amazing, and if it's not, we will figure this out. But the topic, the intention for today is really speaking to awakening the new era visionaries, new consciousness. Like if you are out there feeling like you are a lone wolf, this is going to be a really powerful experience for you. And yeah, we're gonna have a discussion around this, what this means to navigate this. And then of course we're gonna share a little bit about the core and the really powerful roundtable that we are creating for rapid and radical expansion for visionaries like you. So, Tor, do we want to do an intro? Because I don't know if does everyone know who we are? Um, yeah,
I think people know who we are, but I think it's a good thing to reintroduce ourselves because a lot of things have happened in a very short
yeah,
time span. We might be, by the way, there might be sound now. I might be actually live talking in a very
might
short
be
time span.
live.
We might be, by the way, there might be sound now. Okay, so it looks weird. I know. You can't. We have never done this before. So we
Yeah,
have two of me and one of you, and a weird StreamYard layout. But yeah, a lot of things have happened lately. So my life is not the same as it was yesterday, as I'm sure that you are resonating with because it shifts all the time. And I've had experiences the last few weeks now from a lot of other people who are going on the same wave and they're seeing the same things, which makes me believe like shit, I'm not clinically insane after all. Like there is actually a explanation to these things, and magic is very real. And that depends on how you view magic. But new consciousness, new era, new reality. If you don't know, you're fucked. It's that simple. I've seen people now with the biggest issues, challenges,
yeah,
and untold catastrophes in their life, and they're coming and more or less just they have given up. It's like you can see the spark has died in them, and the answer is always the same. Like, what are you doing other than seeing this shit going on and coming at you all the time, feeling alone, feeling isolated, trying to, convince yourself that there are no people around you who are like you? It's keeping you dim. It's literally killing your light. And I've seen so many people now that I'm going to shout that from the rooftops. If you don't freaking get to the other side of that wall, whatever is just there's going to be issues. And I think that we will do our best to say how we experience these things so that
mm,
other people can navigate them easily or also find other people who are on the wave with you.
1000%,
Yeah, that was not
thousand.
an intro.
That was not an intro. Well, so yeah, who are you? What are so that was a great intro. That was a great intro to your ultimate mission.
Yeah. Yeah. I have come to realize that I have just got to accept who I am. And before this, I was just going around saying, I don't know what I do. It's not what do you do, it's what you are. My name is Tor. I am of the Legacy Forge. They call me Tribe Chief. And that is a blessing and a burden, to be honest. I now have come to respect those people who take those leadership roles to a whole different level because it requires so much more than I really anticipated. But I run the Legacy Forge with a bunch of other co-creators or legacy forgers, and we are doing our best to expand consciousness and to make sure that people see that reality is way more than what they were told. And that's more or less it. It just comes back to living, being in alignment. There is a huge
Mhm.
difference between knowing the things and just feeling the pull. And by my side, I have introduced you a lot of times. I want to hear you introduce yourself. Lauren.
It's different every time. Like, what's the
Yeah.
vibe? Yeah, so I am Lauren Zavlunov. I am a metaphysical advisor, mentor, oracle, and founder of the Black Diamond process, which is basically a high performance accelerator for conscious visionaries to unlock hidden genius, masterfully command their creative destiny, and enjoy expansive sovereign success in literally all areas of their work and life. So that's in a nutshell
Well done.
what I do, who I am, and who I'm here for.
Yeah. Well done. Because that's one of the hardest things to really answer. I feel like most people can't really say what they do and what they are and where they want to go and who they actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it depends on who you're talking to, right? Or
Yeah.
I've said that and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
on the playground or oh, that's what you do. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we're here essentially, right, to draw forth, bring forth information and uh frequencies, right? And support those who part of my genius, and I think it's yours as well in this realm of time collapse,
Mm.
of seeing the thing, right, that you're here to do, of achieving. For me, it's working with conscious visionaries to achieve the legacy goal faster. And it's not just the goal, right? It's the beingness, like who you are when you reach
Mm.
that point. And I think that a lot of us, like you were saying, are dimming that light, dimming that experience because of various actually very hidden limiters, things that kind of sit in the shadow, or we're trying to people please, or we just don't quite fit in. And I think that's where the conversation, right, that we always have is this lone wolf visionary. And I definitely want to hear you speak to that, because there are so many out there, and we're all walking around like no one understands me, and I have this big vision, and I have to water it down, or I have to like translate it, or I'm really multidimensional, so I work here, whether it's in like a very like tech or AI or something like extremely logical.
Yeah.
But I am also right, there's this other dimension of like being extremely conscious, exploratory, literally multi-dimensional. And so what happens to the visionary as we're walking around in this kind of frequency of the lone wolf, right?
Mm. Yeah. There's a lot of new terminology that I think a lot of people will be almost stopping with. Because I don't know, you have been doing this for quite some time, right? Today I was sent a video of someone who said that school might be the cause of dumbing down the populace. And
Mm.
for many of us, that's like, yeah, that is the basics. We are taught in a certain way. And then you come to a place where you see that the world is bigger. And so you realize that there are elements of reality that wasn't really considered before. And now you can draw lines between what you do and new ways of identifying who you are while you're doing that. So metaphysical advisor,
Yeah.
frequency elevator. These are things that most people have not ever heard of.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that speaks into the whole the field, right? I'm not sure, and I am open for all suggestions and ideas, but to share the idea of the whole field, the energy, the thing, the flow, the consciousness, all the things we are doing, there are ways to explain this in too many, you know. That's why we are now here just focusing on helping those
Yeah.
people who are visionaries. They see a future, they create a future, they are living a future, but they're
Yeah.
stuck in being alone in creating that, which is a
Yeah.
huge freaking burden. Everyone
Yeah.
else feels activated by something, and that is the thing, by the way. If you feel like, oh, what is this, and you feel like you're elevated a little bit, that's literally what we're talking about. So
Yeah.
we're doing things that you experience
All of
as
that.
you feel it, and then
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just, yeah, how you accept it or not, like that's basically where it stops. If you accept the fact that there might be something to the energy that you are feeling, or not accepting it is basically the two choices one have, right? And we can only just see what we can learn from being in that energy and see what is possible on the other side. Well, like, what if? Because I've seen so many things now that if you are feeling this and you're just starting to feel something is off or something is weird or something is pulling or something is calling or whatever it is, you have a lot to look forward to be honest. And I'm not sure if
Yeah.
I should say I feel for you, like, for reals. If you need anyone through that journey, we know we're here. That's why we're here, you know. But
Yeah.
also on the other end, it is so freaking elevating to the degrees that one could not even fathom before. Yeah. Core being, or haha, core. The point.
Yeah, that always comes up.
Yeah.
It's a reason.
Yeah, because it's all about that, the essence, the core, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
And I think that's if that's your driver,
yeah.
right? And the people who come into our space, it's always that, right? Whether you're a visionary, you're, building centers all around the world, or you're a visionary entrepreneur, you have some really extremely lofty, like you're thinking legacy and you're thinking big, and you've achieved a level of success, and then because maybe you haven't been solely following your essence, right? Because I think a lot of us feel like we don't necessarily fit into our industry
Mm,
or in a niche, or like a one. This has come up, I can't tell you how many times, from like poets and musicians. From I was just interviewing an artist, like an internationally renowned artist, and they were like, no one knows what to do with me. That is,
yeah.
I have heard this multiple times now. No one knows what to do with me. The managers don't know how, like, how do you market this person? How do you, create that goal that's in this, that visionary goal that's in this person's mind? How do you
Mm,
marry the two, energy and logic, right? And so looking at this, not fitting into a niche, knowing that like you're here not to for a playbook, and also knowing that okay, this next level of success no longer is in the realm of just logic. Like our people of triumph, like I'm sure you've done tons of things, right, that are very logical, very strategic. That's what got you to where you are now. But now what we're talking about is an entirely different realm of beyond logic, where there's an, and I always like to call it, the infinite data of the universe. Like your genius is the infinite data of the universe, which will actually collapse time for you. And if you're moving on your essence, you're moving on like what you're talking about, toward that ache, that knowing that even just like interest, even the little
mm,
ones, those are actually invitations. Those are
mm.
portals to your next level of evolution. And we can talk about this too, like, maybe this is another live stream, we're trying to keep it back to like the lone wolf of like, oh, there's so much here, but how scary that can be, right? Like not having a playbook, not wanting to do the strategy or the step by step that other people do, whether in your industry or your family or whatever. If you're a disruptor, like you're here to literally shred space time and innovate. And you can't innovate if you're just putting this template over and over and over again on what you're creating and how you're doing it. But then it's like, wait, I don't have a playbook. No one's ever done it before. So how the hell do I do this? Right? Like this is, I think, where a lot of people come into our world. They're like, how do I do this now?
Mm.
And that requires bravery and a lot of shedding, a lot of like recoding one's identity and all of that, which we can get into. But yeah, just that being the crux of it, right? Of um, now I've gone this far, and maybe it's success and it doesn't actually feel really juicy. Like it doesn't feel full,
Mm.
like you're not satisfied, right? And so that is also the invitation, the calling. There are all these like little indicators, right, in our life that call us into that.
Yeah. So it comes back to awareness.
Mm. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
1000%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So like even talking about like what do you think are some of the indicators that you are being invited to up level your evolution, your expansion?
Mm. I would say the emotional response towards different challenges now compared to before. Because if I was to face the things that I have been facing this year versus the
Mm,
things that would have come up 5 years ago, I would have
yep,
died. Would have flat have died, probably by my own
yep,
hands, because
yep,
it's like
yep,
it felt impossible. But after a while, as you say, it starts with an interest or a question, and hopefully for the question haver, I guess, that question is so big that it's not going to be answered, because then you always have something that will add to it, and there's no end goal. Like the destination is the journey itself, and then
mhm,
to
mhm,
have that
yeah,
genuine interest in learning what is around the next corner and just going step by step, minute by minute in the eternal now. But those things come afterwards, right? It starts with that, huh, or something,
yeah,
just an experience that was out of the norm, and then a question arose, and then, oh, that was interesting. I wonder, right? And then you start to, yeah, wonder that too. Start with that shit again. Where did wonder go? And the magic,
yeah,
just opening
yeah,
the mind and seeing that everything is possible. And also, you have people looking for signs in everything, and then you have
mhm.
people like, let's say you're getting hit in the face by 15 butterflies at the same time. Who's like, that was interesting. What?
Yeah,
I
that's
wonder.
something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
The signs,
yeah,
if you're just open, the signs become so strong. And it's like,
mhm,
if the universe were to talk to you in some way, how would it talk? How would it actually get the message to you? Yeah, sure, we have mediums. We have people who claim that they talk to the other side, but those people are usually full of problems. Like they haven't even done their own journey. They just took a course, so they're kind of projecting all this shit, right?
yeah, yeah,
And then you have other things, seemingly coincidental situations that just come in, and how you respond dictates the outcome. And if you respond pure, I guess, like aligned with who you truly are, like who the person you are, then you see what that just amounts to, because the situations keep on coming, and all of a sudden there's like, holy shit, turns out there was a freaking puzzle piece, and that was a puzzle piece, and that was a puzzle piece, and all of a sudden you can see that you have a freaking frame, and they're starting to become something, and then it just, I guess at that point you're starting to wonder, what is this gonna look like, and is the full freaking puzzle just one massive puzzle piece in a infinite array of different other ones, because it
yeah.
just keeps on expanding. It's never stopping. And
Yeah, so number 1, comfort with the unknown,
yeah,
right? Like, this is everything, and that's sort of like they're beautiful illuminations that like, okay, we're getting hit in the face with like 100 butterflies, that is awesome, and then there's also the flip side that I've noticed where, whether it's chaos or a catastrophe, fine, that does not need to happen at all. Don't believe that
exactly,
that's necessary. But
exactly.
also, and I was just talking about this morning. Well, number 1, frustration.
Mm.
And number 2, the biggest one that people miss is actually boredom.
Mm.
Boredom. Because if you're an innovator and if you're like, I don't want to do it this way, and all of a sudden you're sitting in a room and you're at a table and you're like, I don't want to have these conversations.
Mm.
I'm restless. Like, I've seen my clients literally paint themselves into a corner so that they could solve problems because they're so bored in what they're doing. And so I think this is one that's such an indicator that so many people miss. And I think that that was part of my own journey too. Like my wake up was I'm having a conversation in Voxer with a client, and up until that point I was so happy. I was like, this is great, this is my destiny. And then I was like, oh, I don't want to have this conversation anymore. And so what that requires now, right, is looking at that. And for me, it's always like, I talk about this all the time, blade of truth. Blade of truth, like you've got to tell yourself a radical truth about where you are. Are you happy? Does it feel delicious? Does it feel euphoric? Does it feel fun? What is the goal for you, right? And if it doesn't, and you're experiencing these things or patterns, right, or ceilings that you keep hitting up again, it's like I've noticed a lot of people now who are like, you see it all over the internet, right? Like they're collapsing. Like this doesn't work anymore. I'm leaving this industry. I'm leaving that industry, and everyone's got to announce it or whatever. But I almost think that's like kind of false. It's almost like you've just stopped heeding the invitation. Ooh, this is like, I'm getting chills around this because I didn't realize, like, when people do that, I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't, it doesn't seem true. It seems like a reaction to not actually stepping the fuck up into who you're meant to be. You're not meant to do it like the industry. So don't, like, whatever. You don't need to announce that you're not being part of. Go do it. Like, be the innovator, knock people's socks off, create something that is purely of your own essence and for the absolute joy and fun of creating the thing, right? And then also, right, your legacy goal obviously is going to have high impact in the world, but yeah, it's like that. It's like, go do it. Just go do it. So I don't know where I was going with that one, but yeah, I think that innovation, right? If you're bored, you're really an innovator or disruptor. There's an invitation.
Yeah.
There's an invitation. Yeah.
100%. And boredom as well. Like if you really align with your passion and goals, I can't remember last time I was bored.
Yeah.
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 That's a huge one. Damn.
Yeah. Or I on purpose go into spaces where I don't have my phone, don't take in any input, and like allow my mind to just spin and flow and go wherever it needs to. And it might want to go do something because I'm also the same. I constantly want to like generate material. I constantly want to, experience things and create and all of that. And sometimes I on purpose like just no, just like literally sit still, no input. Then what happens when it comes through? I was saying this, that like I love when my daughter is like, she's rarely bored, but if she were to say that, or she's like, yeah, I have nothing to do, I'm like, cool, that's the best. Because I know in that moment, right, she's going to tap into not trying to offload her feelings into some, video game or whatever, although we love to game. You know what I mean? Like she's not going to go do XYZ. It's just actually experiencing the thing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think it's a challenge sometimes too, like when there's a point, right, where you get really kind of fed up as a kind of lone wolf or a loner. And I'm speaking just from my own experience, but if this resonates.
Oh, I resonate. Yeah.
Where you're kind of done. And you're done playing in certain circles and you're done, but then you're like, what's next? What is and then you're done with your own bullshit and you're done with the experience of stagnancy, because I think a lot of us, once again, going back to like the innovator, there is a certain like high we get from generating and talking and engaging. And if we're not like fully expressed and we think no one understands and we are like constantly translating, this is going to, if I bring it back to the time collapse, right? If you're trying to reach your visionary goal, this is going to slow you down so much. And it's going to really just kind of dampen like your the vitality of what you're actually creating,
Yeah, I had
because you're,
essence in my mind.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, so really, like, coming back to why we're here, right? And talking about the experiences that we're now creating for Next Level Visionaries, the core is literally this round table that is absolutely not for everyone.
Mm.
Not for everyone. But those who are called to expand their legacy vision, their business, understanding the energetics behind that, understanding and implementing time collapse, and having a round table in which to be fully seen, from my own experience, has been the absolute most powerful hyperspeed experience I ever could have had.
Same.
So yeah, yeah, I'd love to hear, your experience around that, as well. Like, from
Yeah.
being not being seen to seen, like
Mm.
what was that for you?
I started in King's Crucible, really. Like I had, and I'm gonna get back to what that is as well, because people here, we haven't talked about the journey that got us into the antechamber, into the core, and
Mm.
everything that has happened around it, because it has been everything, everywhere, all at once. So it was kind of figuring out, okay, what do we have with this, right? And then just the pieces fell together. But I have been running communities now for a long time, and it's been one of the worst jobs I've ever had, kind of. But it's also been one of the best freaking personal development journeys I could ever have asked for, because there's a lot of kind of testy people out there. So you find out how to navigate different topics. And in this case, the topic was as controversial as psilocybin melanceata, which is a liberty cap, aka magic mushroom, which is category 1 scheduled drug. Does not make sense to me, but that is a whole other podcast or
Yeah.
conversation. And this
Mm.
this community, it grew. So I had about 10,000 people in there, and I figured the easiest way for this to go where it has to go, that was that feeling that what if it was to create a offshoot community from that energy that was created in the small pockets within the community. So we had this energy going. When people came in, they didn't really get advertised to. They didn't read somewhere that in here you're gonna feel welcome. You're gonna feel like you're a part of something. But they said it like time and time again. People talked about what they got from the community, and I figured that's awesome because we are actually trying to do something completely different. So we slowly but surely ported it over to a more self-hosted platform where we don't get surveilled and data sold, and that's also a very different topic. But all these things were kind of problems that we saw and we created solutions for. After a while, you're going to get to that. It's like a funnel. It's like you have everyone, and then you just go through the layers, and then you get through the coal filters, and then you get through the challenges, and then you test people. After a while, you're going to see who is real, and you're going to be hanging out more with those people, and you're going to have amazing conversations. And in my case, I literally feel my energy kind of lift up when I have deep and meaningful conversations. So I had to get more of those. And as we had those more and more, it made sense to put this into boxes almost. Not to label anything, but it was, in my humble opinion, I've been a very, very opponent of scheduling ever. So it was hard for me to kind of see that, all right, well, maybe we should just do it on a time frame. But as we did it, we saw that people got more engaged, and so the things started to grow, and we saw that holy shit, we have people here that are really engaged and very aligned with the vision that we're trying to reach. So people joined in because of the energy and the fulfillment of doing the work, basically. And then when you have a people shoulder to shoulder working up the same mountain from all their different paths, right? We say diversity or unity through diversity. I think it was an AI term, but it fits. Unity through
Mhm.
diversity. All these different experiences kind of fuel each other, complement each other to create new things. And then you start to just grow exponentially, right? And energy attracts more of the same. So all of a sudden, I found myself in this billionaire container. I was all of a sudden being headhunted by some people who had a program, and I came in there and I saw, you're on fucking Zoom. And it was a light switch for me. That was just opening up.
No one's gonna, you gotta go, like, why no one's gonna understand that if they don't I mean,
Yeah,
some people understand that.
yeah,
Why for you, like the experience
yeah,
is so highly important.
yeah.
Like it's not like just let's show up on a call. This is like
Exactly.
a multi-dimensional experience. That's why what did we I mean, you're a realm builder. That's what we
Yeah.
essentially
But
um
I became that after that because here I have been creating communities for a long time, and I have been really putting my effort into those small pieces that actually adds to the experience on and the overall transformation. Right? I think it took me a while for me to see that the way I did that, the way I kind of taught or shared, was different. But when I
mm,
saw the quality from that level, we all have gurus and experts in the industry, and we see how people are delivering their stuff and all that stuff. And I felt like everyone was doing the same thing. They were doing the exact same recipe. And I was like, why can't we just do something about that? And then coming into that container from that level, seeing that they did that, it blew me down. So I don't. You probably remember the intro, right, with the whole mask and the voice and the whole everything.
yeah.
Like I'm Tor, right? That was one of the
Yeah.
few times I actually were there because there is this one-way communication. There isn't that energetic transaction like we have right now. That whole the depth and the context and the meaningfulness of the conversation. So we from there, me and Lauren met and started to talk, and it was like-minded. So it was, and also your branding is on point. To be honest, like when I saw your branding, I saw that that person is not like everyone else. It's not the same copy pasted shit. I felt hope, so I went in and we started to talk, and I got I got access to the King's Crucible, which was 6 weeks,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah. So we went through.
It was pretty hyperspeed.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
exactly.
think, did it maybe less? Maybe less. There are at least 6 modules.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I think I did 6 modules in like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It was like 3
So
or 4 weeks. Yeah.
it was a
Yeah, that was
very
hyperspeed intense.
yeah, but it was good, right? Because we came in there,
Yeah,
we shared
on purpose.
meaningful things, and I saw that, all right, now here we have the thing, right? This is what I'm talking about. So we have been working together ever since, basically. We went through King's
Yeah.
Crucible. I saw how you're presenting, I saw the effort that you put into things, I saw the attention to detail, the activations, not to mention the activations, because if you are a meditator, and you are still doing the old mainstream stuff, it's probably time to try some really cool stuff that actually makes you feel. Like I have feedback, by the way, from other people in my community that has
Oh,
things to
yeah.
say. Yeah, yeah. So
Okay,
everyone,
well,
I'm always basing this on experience.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
also a thing. You will
Mhm.
never find anything in the core antechamber, anything that at least I'm a part of, that is just a rehash of some old stuff. It's always the experience on the next level stuff, which is interesting to talk about. But it ended up in this. Like we started to talk, we met around the round table, which wasn't a thing basically, but it became a thing. And all of a sudden we had a theme, and all of a sudden there was a core to it. Like she sent me a message, the core. That's it. I was like, that is it.
Yeah, that was a crazy download because I was like,
Yeah.
"What's the core? I don't like it. I don't understand what this is. Oh, fine. This is what it is." Like, that's how it just,
Yeah.
it was like, that is it. It just was allowed the core. Fine. And then all of a sudden, right, all of this, and this is how we work. We're talking multidimensionally. it's not step by step.
No.
It's like over here, it's like A, it's like Z, it's like P, and then all of a sudden everything gets filled out. So that's kind of how it happens, because we're literally shredding space time. So anyway, thank you for all the lovely words too. Didn't mean to interrupt you. Maybe think about though, like how disruptive, right? That for me was like, oh, I don't know. And then I went in and talked to the computers and, went into AI, and then we got these really cool images. And then it just like, then it settled in my body like, oh, this is it. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for like, I've been trying to create this game. I've been showing this every time I have. These things are just a prototype of a bigger universe where we have 3 seasons in 3 different. This is where it gets really complicated and multi-dimensional, because the pieces of these things did not come at the same time. It wasn't planned. It just fell from the universe, if you will. So I'm going to just quickly just line up the things that is before the core, all right, which is insane. Season 1, FML 1, Fuck My Life, Ember, Essence Anvil, Season of Saga. This is where we begin. Then we go into FML 2, Fuck My Life, learn something new, something has changed. Ember Forge, you take that essence into the forge, you start to forge it. In the season of Ragnarok, the end of the old, the beginning of the new, where you meet around the round table, but only because it is where you get access, a little taste of the higher things. Then you have FML 3, Fuck My Life, which is Epic, which is Exalted Hammer, which is the core, which is everything is on a ladder that is made for not overwhelming or accidentally killing the person going through it. And,
very important to add, right? That's why we're like, not for everyone, because this is more like, you have to have a stable core.
Yes.
You have to have a stable core, because if you're still and it's not a judgment, right? Because the beautiful breadth and depth of your experiences cover all of these things. Right? So that if you're not here, then there's a place for you to go to strengthen XYZ, right? So exactly. I love that about that. Yeah,
and everything is just right now. I think that it is the best, most transformative thing that I've seen, and it's just this. It is us sitting here by the round table, virtually in this case, or around a fire, talking meaningfully with people who understand. It's so paradoxically simple, yet so profoundly powerful.
Yeah. And I think that if you're operating at a certain level now, I think with what has even just happened over the past few years and how this so much has shifted, and I actually feel that how energy works is now different. And that has been a feeling for a few years, and being able to articulate that. But now the people who are meant to not just work in the 3D, and with like, even if I'm just watching this in clients, like, okay, I've done this, I've reached the success, but actually it's, doesn't feel like success. And you're like redefining your whole life, or you are doing this strategy, right? The paint by numbers, and it used to work. And then all of a sudden, and this totally happened to me, I'm doing the same thing, 0 results, right? And then having to look at it, like, that's the wake up, like, oh, I'm not actually meant to follow this template anymore. I'm now being called for an entirely different creation process that actually comes from me, that is sourced from the wellspring of my own genius, my own essence. As I really truly believe there's like 1% of the 1% who are now experiencing this, that are not meant to do things this way, but are also feeling like there's no place to actually expand at the rate that they desire to expand, to work on multiple facets of their creation and their evolution at the same time. And then also be in a room with people who understand. And I see this again and again, right? Of people like really accelerating in their own evolution. This has also happened to me where I was in rooms at the beginning of the year. I thought, oh my God, I don't belong here. Everyone is just, I don't know what, knows all this more than I do or whatever. And then, yeah, by the end of the year, I can't even sit still because I'm like, you're still on the same things, and I'm already like light years. I want to talk about something else. Like, this is not the conversation I want to be having anymore. And it's very interesting to be in that space. And then you're like, what's next?
Mm.
So, yeah, I wanna talk about the core a little bit before we. I mean, we have been before we wrap up. Like,
Yeah.
I could really this being an invitation that if any of our content, if you feel that pull, if you feel that ache, there's a place for you. And if you are a highly conscious, you've achieved a level of success in some way, and you are now ready to hyperspeed a legacy goal. So then this means you're like actively working towards something specific, or you're transitioning. I think we have a lot of people who are like, oh wait, I'm exiting this business now what? This is for you. So the core really is for um those of you who want to work on all facets of business energetics. Like, obviously you have our expertise here as well, but I like to look at it as like a mastermind literally on steroids. Like, I wrote that because I'm like, I don't, that's just how it is, because there's a traditional mastermind, and then there's a mastermind where each seat of the core is specifically for, like, we know, right, that there are a very limited amount of seats, and it's very specific who gets to come in, and what they're it's like a duty, it's like a job. Like, you're there not just to work on you. Yes, like, we're supporting you, but then also, how are you going to support the other members, right? How are you going to bring your unique light and your unique genius to the table, to this round table? And I think that everyone, so if you think through history, right, has advisors, has mentors, has people who are going to challenge them, right, to be at that next level of who they're here, here to be. So the core being masterminding, we'll call it that, but we know it's multidimensional masterminding. Maybe we'll coin that phrase. Yeah. Roundtable experience there. And then the access to a network of other extremely high level, other multidimensional visionaries, so that you are actually seen, that you're actually heard, that you're no longer walking around like a lone wolf, and nobody's saying, oh, that's too out there. We're like, hey, can you think bigger?
Yeah.
We're going to challenge you, right? To This is like rapid expansion. And then tour, if you want to go into, I mean, you actually just mentioned it before, the entire suite of the really powerful offers of the Legacy Forge. And that also is going to include my King Crucible, which is really this program to um, illuminate shadow, illuminate limiters, like where you're hitting the ceiling. And this is all through archetypal frequency, so that you can then collapse time and accelerate your own evolution.
Mm.
And then, of course, I'm going to leave it to you, Tor, now to talk about the Legacy Forge and the in-person events, the surprises that we can't even announce yet, but are absolutely, as you say, epic. And yeah, live in-person events and experiences and adventures that we're inviting you into. So yeah, maybe you want to talk a little bit
Yeah.
about some of that.
Yeah, that has also changed a lot lately, because
Yeah.
we have been doing like these live ceremonies and gatherings for a long time, but lately it has become very different, because I need to raise a shitload of money. More money than most people can probably fathom, because I'm creating things on all continents, 9 centers around the world.
Mm.
And with everything that is now set in motion, it's like shit. Now we just have to find the people who are crazy enough to enjoy this. So we have, I shit you not, we have a currently full-time working acute psychiatric professional. So
Oh
that,
wow.
oh yeah, because I shit you not, like it's crazy real when I say there is a disclaimer to everything we do. So when we are hosting these adventures on the highest level, and as you say, we compact time, like we
Yeah.
collapse it
Yeah.
completely to the core.
Rapid fire. You have
Yeah,
to be very willing to, yeah.
yeah, and because of that, we have onboarding, or like we meet and we talk, but at a level that feels overwhelming to the majority. So it you can't
Yeah.
kind of get everything at once, but when you do go through the transition, we have everything now in place. And why we are doing it is because we want to actually improve, or not even improve. I wanted to take down a system from the inside. I wanted to go in there and burn down the shit. But I figured, not even me, Vibestar, who's currently in the chat, she figured it's better to create an alternative system. If we are
Mhm.
not really following how things are being done right now, it's easier to
Mhm.
build a system that is going to be able to actually make change. So in mental health, in physical health, in holistic development, in education, in prison, in immigration, in all these different things that is just so far out there, we're directly contributing to solving and not fixing, not a band-aid, not a pharmaceutical freaking diagnosis and a receipt. We have things that is not prescribed by a person who read a book. As I said,
Yeah.
experience from people around the world that has I'm blown away. Like they're doing things that actually impact and change the world. So what we do in the Legacy Forge is you get in the core, seeing that it is on the top, it is the FML3, it is Epic, it's Exalted Hammer, it is the tippity top of everything that we have. You get everything underneath as well. You get access to the different networks within the different categories. If you came in from the beginning, you would just get access to whatever you saw. The core gets everything that they need. That could be psychedelic innovative therapy. That could be trauma handling on a completely different level. That can be manifesting real time and metaphysical realities that is just mind boggling. And I had this conversation yesterday where he came and he said, Tor, you don't need shrooms to go in and do these things. Yes, that's correct. And he's like now bridging the unconscious, the conscious,
Mhm.
and seeing how he's getting things into his life that is beyond what he could dream of. So it's
Mhm.
the next
Mhm.
level new consciousness, right? You can't say what it is going to be. I just can promise you play, adventures, fires, like-minded people, a lot of howling and horn blowing, and probably a few helicopters if you want to go to really remote locations to see how that is like. But
Mm.
in essence, like-minded people trying to actually fix the world. So we have we haven't really said anything about how limited the seating situation around the table is, but we
Mm.
want the frequency that actually complements the thing. Andrew Tate went out today and he did something very similar, but it's very from that, I would say, wounded masculine energy.
Mm.
He There's a different mindset behind it. He has a limited capacity of 3,500. We are looking at below 7 or 10.
It's like,
So, yeah,
yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
not ready for this, don't even bother to apply. If you are, if you feel called, then there is probably maybe after vetting and after seeing who you are, a place for you by the table. If you do choose to sit down by the table, we're going to create. There is work to do. There is a lot of things to do and achieve and experience that is beyond what I can say right now. The only thing I know is that it's happening so freaking fast. We literally, the theme song that you heard on the way in here wasn't even a thing yesterday. It's coming to life as we speak. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, we're just gonna
This is
have
how
to
we
hold on.
create. Like
That's how we
that's the
create.
thing. Is you've got to be ready. You've got to be ready for yeah, living about 100 lifetimes
Yeah.
in a day. And that's just how we roll. And I think yeah, the reason why like having an application process is to just, yeah, ensure, right, that also you are in a space as well where people are going to resonate with you, where you're going to be able to have those conversations so that the level of the experience is going to be really profound. And
Mm,
that is something that we always look to as, you know, one of our values, right?
yeah.
To invite people into that space. But yeah, and I always put now a warning label on the work, because be prepared to get what you want, be prepared to move really freaking fast, and be prepared to shift your sight and yeah, see what you haven't seen before, and tell yourself the truth, but without, this is not like a judgment, this is not like some kind of spiritual perfection or whatever, but this is like you see the truth and then you're able to move and literally bend space-time to create some really high impact goals. So that's what we're here for, to support that in all facets.
Yeah.
So it's if you resonate, if you've been watching it this long, I definitely say reach out, and whatever platform. I don't even know what platforms we're on. I think I saw like LinkedIn. I was trying to find some of them. Well, you're on LinkedIn, so you can stream.
That's
clearly.
Cool. So all right, because I didn't know that. We're probably on Facebook,
You can now
LinkedIn, X,
stream,
YouTube.
so.
Yeah, wherever.
Yeah, but wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, definitely reach out. And we have experiences too that are like, if you're like, who are these people? We have tasters. I have a genius activation that is free for now. Actually, I was thinking of pulling that, but I'm gonna say it's still free for now. I know, Tor, that you have the communities that they can choose their own adventure. So reach out to either of us if you're, or comment below wherever this is, and we'll send you a taster. But really, if this resonates, just reach out.
Yeah, and I'm now gonna just go into the finishing song, and we will just say we'll see you in the next one. Thank you for being part of this.
Yeah.
Hope to see you on the other side.
Bye, guys.
Dragons we have battled, demons we've defied, through the darkest valleys and mountains we've climbed. Now we stand united, warriors of the heart, for love is our armor, and this is just the start. Mystical moments as the fire crackles near, laughter and some tears as we conquer